Kiddo, come here, bring it in, give your Uncle Mickey a hug. Oh, it's great to see you come here. Mm, mm. Look at you all big, huh? Look at you. Look at you all tough, all growing up. No, it's been great to see you getting big. I'm so proud of you. So what are you doing these days? You playing little sports? You doing chess after school? You playing hockey? Nice. I love that. And I played hockey too when I was your age. That's a great game. Great game. You getting good grades? Good. Good. Well, you're about ready to go off into the world, plant your own flag and make your mark. These are important things. Have I ever heard of who? Oh, what, like Andrew Tate and like Sneako and freshandfit, myrongaines and these guys. Yeah, I heard of them. I heard of these guys. You watching these guys? What do you think of these guys? You like them? You like them? Well, that's very understandable. It's very understandable that you could be, attracted to these guys. No, I mean that. Well, it's because, a lot of what they say is true. And to not acknowledge that, I think would be doing, they'd be doing you a disservice. I don't hold these gentlemen in particularly high esteem myself, but I very much understand where the appeal comes in. Where they talk about looks maxing, I don't know, like money maxing, body count maxing, how many ladies you can get. There are parts of that world that a lot of young men, I mean mostly young men like yourself, are gonna find attractive, and I get that. And again, I think the reason that it has gotten momentum is because there are parts of it that are actually good parts, okay, and other parts which I think are horribly toxic and horribly misguided. Okay, but let's lay out what are some of the positives. Well, I'd say first and foremost, a sense of brotherhood, a sense of community. Everybody wants to belong to a tribe, a community. Everybody wants to be a part of something where they feel listened to and they feel understood. Okay, and that's honestly, it's very important. It's important that you feel like you belong. Okay, isolation is not good. It leads to depression. So, a sense of community is a good thing. Okay. Let's call it like the looks maxing thing. Okay, well, there's parts of that are very good. Like, what's the good thing about looks maxing? Taking care of yourself, right? Getting to the gym, working out, presenting yourself in a good way. You don't want to be some jabroni. You don't want to be some schlub, you know. You want to show up looking good. You want to show up, at the top of your game, I understand that's a healthy thing, right? Money maxing. What's good about that? What's good is that, yeah, and the world that you and I inhabit, cohabitate, okay? We need jobs. We need careers. Money makes the world go round. You can fight that. You can be annoyed at it. You can hate it. It is what it is, okay? You're going to need to figure out a way to have a job, have a career, That's important, okay? These are good things. Now let's talk about what else is there. I got the body count, the ladies thing. That's, I don't know. I struggle to find a positive in that. Okay, well, let me say this, okay? I think partnership between, well, it doesn't have to be between a man and a woman, but just people is very, very romantic. Partnership is very important. And finding a mate is very challenging, okay? In the best circumstances, finding a partner in life is hard, okay? And, encouraging you to get out there and, find ways to flirt and then do that is probably a good thing, okay? So we just listed out. There's listed out some positives, okay? Sense of community, belonging, taking care of yourself, standing on your own 2 feet, working on being presentable, having a job, being out in the community, trying to find a life partner. These are positive things, okay? I understand. Now, we have to talk about the other side, right? With the community, with that sense of belonging, the tribe. It's good and it's dangerous because it can create echo chambers where all we hear is one side of the story. You hear one side, you're not hearing the other side of the story. That's usually not a good thing. It doesn't matter in any shape of life, whether it's down, in the news, if you're only listening to Fox News, it's probably not good. Also, if you're only listening to MSNBC, probably not good, okay? You want to avoid one-sided, where you only hear the one side to things, right? And unfortunately, human nature is such that, that desire to belong, to be in a tribe, is deep-rooted. It's really attractive, especially I think to young men. I think it's particularly attractive. That's why, a lot of young men, they might join a gang. And again, gangs are nothing new. We've had gangs since before time, Remember that movie Gangs in New York? Come on. Leo DiCaprio and the My Left Foot guy. I'm blanking on. He's gonna come to me. There Will Be Blood. Anyway, you know the actor I'm talking about. He's gonna blank on his name. Amazing actor. But they've been gangs. Liam Neeson, that guy's great. They've been gangs forever. Okay. And the mafia, gangs, men wanting to be a part of a tribe. Okay. Now, you'll notice most of those gangs are involved in an awful lot of violence, an awful lot of bloodshed. Okay. Not good. Now, what if somebody had a part? The part that sticks in my craw is a lot of the negative attitudes toward women. Because I hear these guys talk. Wasn't Tate, literally charged with human trafficking? This is not a good thing. Okay. And there's this weird adversarial diminishment, and like it pits men versus women, and like it's like this zero-sum game where it's like if women do good, then men can't do good, and if women do good, or if men do good, then we have to put women down for in order to men to do good. And this is not wise thinking. The reality is, throughout human history, men and women work together. It is teamwork. It is cooperation. It is symbiotic. And yes, have there traditionally been gender roles in circumstances? This is a fact, right? But it does not define the relationship of men and women. And when you have these guys being like, oh, you gotta tell women how it is. Women like to be told who to be. This is not backed up by any actual strong data. And let me just tell you a little story real quick about your auntie and me, right? Like, before we met, we were both successful people, okay? I was a bartender. I had my car paid off. I had a nice apartment, I was good. I was living a good life, okay? I could pay my bills. I had a little money to spend, some money in the bank. I was in good shape. Your mother, I'm sorry, my wife, your auntie, she was successful too. She had a good job. She had a nice apartment. She was doing good. But what happened was that when we got together, okay, it wasn't like 1 + 1 made 2. It was like 1 and 1 suddenly made 10. Let me explain. We each pushed each other to be a better version of ourselves. She pushed me to help me switch careers and get my life going in a better place. I helped push her and give her the stability and the platform where she could take a big swing at a big job opportunity, but it was risky. There's a chance whole thing could have failed, okay? She could have been jobless, okay? But I was there and I was like, look, honey, if it doesn't work, I got you. I'm gonna catch you. And so she had the safety and the support of me in order to take a big jump, take a big swing. The swing happened to land. That was very good, But we watched ourselves and our life trajectories suddenly start to force multiply. Why? Because we were a team. Teamwork making the dream work. We weren't, and it wasn't 1 and 1 made 2. It was like 1 and 1 made 10. And then 10 turned into 20, and it kept going, and it's still going. So when you have this view of like, men need to dominate women, men need to tell women, and women belong like in the kitchen and like barefoot and pregnant and this kind of nonsense, it's foolish thinking. It's not. And here's a reality. I watched this documentary on the Netflix, okay? And these guys, these jabronis, what's his name, myrongaines, and these guys, okay, they talk all this big game about how, like, oh, I tell my woman what to do, all right? Well, the girlfriend shows up on the picture. Oh, you watch this guy turn his tune around all of a sudden. Oh, hey, baby, how you doing? He got all soft like a pussycat with his lady, okay? And then, in order to try to, like, puff up his chest on the camera in the documentary, and then you'd be like, we'll try to, like, tell her what to do. It was pathetic to watch, okay? And good for this lady. She dumped him. At the end of the documentary, we find out that she dumped this schlub. I was very proud of that. I was like, good for her. But again, you hear one side, okay, they talk all this game. Or this one other guy in this documentary. Oh, let's get to the next thing. Okay, so men and women, it's not a competition of who's better. We're different, and we're teammates. And you want to find your ride or die. You want to find your teammate in this game of life, okay? You're not looking to dominate. You're not looking to tell her what to be. You're looking to find somebody who makes you the best version of you, okay? And, yeah, that's number one. That's the most important thing, okay? So get rid of that noise. And that's what I was going to tell you, is that, so you get these, and the next thing is like the money maxing thing, right? And again, you do want to have a career, but there's one guy in the documentary, like, what he was fundamentally doing was like selling like his course, this training thing that he offered, or like he was selling like some, stock portfolio, money making opportunity nonsense. Turned out it was this total BS. But every time one of his followers, bought it, he got a chunk of it. So yeah, he's making money, right? But his followers aren't making money. And as far as the career thing goes, and making money is making money important. I do think that it is. I wish I could tell you that it doesn't matter. I cannot in good consciousness tell you that. It matters. It's not the end all be all. Money does not buy you happiness, okay? And it truly doesn't. Why do you think through all these, trust fund babies, these Nepo babies, and they're just like sad, depressed, drug addicted alcoholics, these are not the people that you aspire to look up to, And, it's also not fun being broke. I've been broke. And it's important, I think, honestly. I think it's important in life to experience being broke. Because as they say, necessity is the mother of invention, right? And it's not fun staring at your bank account, worrying about your bills, worrying about your next meal, a car payment, rent. It's scary, stressful. You want to get to a point in your life eventually where you're comfortable. You don't feel squeezed, okay? This is very important. But it's not the end all be all. And look, people say, well, blah, 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 CEOs, blah, blah, blah. Well, the reality is 99.9% of people, men or women, are not CEOs. 99.9% of us are not CEOs, okay? Doesn't mean you can't be. Doesn't mean you shouldn't necessarily want to do that if that's what you want to do. But there's a million ways to live this life, okay? As far as, again, looks maxing thing, yeah, take care of yourself. But instead of viewing it like looks maxing, which I think can get very narcissistic and it can get very negative and pejorative on yourself, ask this question. If you had a child, imagine yourself in the future, you're now a father, okay? Mother, father, you have a child. And your child was you, would you want your child to date you? Take the weirdness out of that, you know what I mean? Are you somebody that you would want to date, right? Ask yourself that question. Now, And what are the things that I think we're looking for? Are you honest? Yes, you are. Are you hardworking? Yes, you are. You're not lazy. Are you fun? Being fun is very important. Being funny, right? Be these things, you know. Nobody wants to be around somebody who stinks. You know what I mean? You want to practice good hygiene. You want to take a shower. You want to brush your teeth. You know, maybe comb your hair. You know, like the basic things. I'm not saying you need to look like frickin' Fabio or like, you know, frickin' Brad Pitt or whatever. But like, take a shower, you know. Maybe go to the gym every once in a while. Maybe like, you know, put on clothes that fit you. That's all I'm saying, okay? I'm not crazy with it. So, again, there are parts of the manosphere that I think are genuinely healthy, okay? For lack of a better word. You know, trying to better yourself, you know? Stand up on your own 2 feet. Don't be a victim, right? These are good things. But then they take it to where it's like, it's us versus them, you know? It's not taking care of myself. It's looks maxing, you know? And if I don't look a certain way, then you're a failure. That's not good. It's money maxing. If I'm not making $1 million a year and I'm not the blah blah blah, then I'm a failure. And that's not true at all. That's not healthy thinking. You know. Women are like, it's us as men versus women. And that's not true at all. It's not men versus women. We're team. It's men and women working together. We each have our strengths. We each have our weaknesses. I would not want to live in a world that was only female. Nor would I want to live in a world that was only male. I think the ancient Chinese, you know, I'll tell you, those cats really were onto something. You know, Confucius and all those cats. You know, the yin and the yang, the light and the dark, the masculine and the feminine, the equal parts, the intertwine and interwoven, they're interwoven together. And you need both. So it makes the balance, okay? You know, you need engineers, and you need artists, you need mathematicians, and you need poets and writers. I mean, I love going to the movies. You like going to the movies? I love going to the movies too, okay? We need artists. I love beautiful paintings and sculpture. And we need builders and scientists and mathematicians to build us the rockets to use our cell phones, to build us the Eiffel Towers, and architects. We need those people too. We need the teachers and the entertainers. And we need the construction workers building the thing, you know? We need it all working together in harmony. So, I hope I made sense. I hope I don't, you know, I'm not just talking at you. I hope I don't want to do that. But I hope I'm making sense. So, you know, be careful with what you listen to. You know, there's always more than one side to a story. There's parts of these guys that is genuinely good. And there's parts of these guys that is genuinely toxic and really, really bad. So, I think you're smart enough to distinguish what from what, okay? Alright, kid. Well, I love you. Alright? I'm proud of you. I know you're gonna go through life and you know you gotta live life and make choices. Alright? Know that I'm always here. You can always give me a call. You have a question, you got a problem. You can always give your uncle a call, alright? Alright, come here, give me a hug. Give me a hug. Alright, come on now. Give me one more. Come here, come here, come here. Alright. I'll talk to you later, kiddo.